long before the rise of human empires, before the pyramids of Egypt, before the kings of Babylon carved their names into stone, there existed a throne far greater than any throne on earth, a throne not built by human hands, a throne that stands beyond time itself. Ancient prophets described it with trembling words, a throne surrounded by fire, lightning, and countless heavenly beings. Around it stand armies of angels, creatures of light, messengers of heaven, warriors of eternity, and before this throne, even the most powerful angels bow. The ancient scriptures declare that there is one king before whom all of heaven bends the knee, not a king elected by men, not a ruler crowned by an empire, but the eternal sovereign of all creation, the king before whom heaven bows. But who is this king? Why do angels tremble before his presence? And what do the ancient writings reveal about the throne that rules the universe? Tonight we explore one of the most powerful images recorded in sacred history, the throne of the king before whom heaven bows. One of the clearest descriptions of heaven's throne comes from an ancient prophet named Isaiah. His vision is recorded in the book of Isaiah. According to the text, Isaiah saw something extraordinary, a throne high and lifted up, majestic, radiant, unshakable, and seated upon that throne was the Lord. But what surrounded the throne was just as astonishing. Great heavenly beings stood nearby. These mysterious beings were known as seraphim. Each had 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces, with 2 wings they covered their feet, and with 2 wings they flew. Why would heavenly beings hide their faces? Because the presence of the king was too glorious even for angels to gaze upon directly. As they circled the throne, they cried out continuously, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts." Their voices shook the foundations of heaven, and the temple of heaven filled with smoke. Even a prophet like Isaiah fell to the ground in awe, because standing before that throne meant standing before the ultimate authority of the universe. Another extraordinary vision appears in the writings of the prophet Daniel. His vision is recorded in the book of Daniel. Daniel describes seeing a majestic figure seated upon a fiery throne. This figure is called the Ancient of Days. His clothing was white as snow, his hair was like pure wool, and his throne burned with flames. Wheels of fire surrounded it. Before him flowed a river of fire, and surrounding the throne were uncountable multitudes. Thousands upon thousands of angels served him. Millions stood before him. This vision reveals something profound. Heaven itself operates like a kingdom, a divine court, and at the center of that court is the king whose authority reaches across all creation. Nothing escapes his rule. Not the stars, not the nations, not even the spiritual realm. All power flows from the throne of the Ancient of Days. Throughout ancient scripture, angels are described as powerful beings. They are messengers, warriors, guardians of heaven. One of the most famous among them is Archangel Michael. Michael is described as a great defender of heaven, a commander of angelic armies. Another powerful angel is Gabriel. Gabriel appears in sacred texts as a messenger of divine revelation. Yet even these powerful beings do not stand as equals to the king. They serve him. They obey his commands. They bow before his authority. Even the mightiest angelic warrior acknowledges the sovereignty of the heavenly throne. In the hierarchy of heaven, there is only one king. Yet one of the most surprising themes in the ancient writings is this: the King of Heaven did not remain distant from humanity. According to the writings of the Gospel of John, the divine word entered the world, taking on human form, walking among ordinary people. Many Christians believe this refers to Jesus Christ, a teacher, a healer, a man whose influence changed the course of history. Yet according to the scriptures, he was more than a teacher. The same king whose throne is worshipped in heaven stepped into the world of humanity, but instead of arriving with armies, he arrived in humility. Instead of wearing a crown of gold, he wore a crown of thorns. This paradox has fascinated believers for centuries. The king before whom angels bow walked among ordinary people. The final book of the Bible contains a dramatic vision of the future. This vision appears in the book of Revelation. In this vision, heaven opens, and a rider appears on a white horse. His eyes burn like fire. Many crowns rest upon his head, and written upon him is a powerful title, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The armies of heaven follow him, and the final victory over evil is established. This moment represents the return of the king whose authority has always ruled the universe, a king not limited by time, not limited by nations, but reigning over all creation. Human history is filled with kings. Some ruled for decades, some for centuries, but eventually, every earthly throne fades. Empires collapse, crowns gather dust, but the ancient scriptures describe one throne that never falls, the throne of the eternal King, the King before whom heaven bows. Before that throne stand countless angels. Before that throne, kings and empires will one day answer. And before that throne, every human life will ultimately be measured. The question that remains for humanity is simple. If heaven itself bows before this King, will we?